How was your day, honey?
Pretty intense, but I brought something for you.
Where'd you find all these things?
Here and there, you know.
Did you run into Ark?
I did, and I watch out for them, but they're the least of my problems.
All the raiders I've met say the same thing. You cannot control what happens up there. But you can decide how you deal with it.
Hey, Raider!
I'm sorry.
Hey y'all. So, I'm probably a bit late with this video, but I'm sure by now you've heard of Ark Raiders. I've been playing a lot of this game since it came out. It's about a month and some change old, and I think I have about 70 hours in this game. And I play some video games. I play some video games, but it's really not typical for me to put this kind of time in to a new game. Being a grown man with a job and all. Especially not an online game. I think maybe Monster Hunter Wilds might have been the last time I really put a lot of time into an online game. And I don't play a lot of shooters either. I don't do Call of Duty. I don't think I've ever played Call of Duty, in fact. I dabble in the battlefields, but 5 to 10 hours a year is about enough for me, to be completely honest. I did play Destiny a little bit, but none of the competitive modes, just the PvE modes. So I do find it unusual that I'm so addicted to Ark Raiders. I think some of that is probably due to it being third person. I just prefer third person games. I want to see my guy. I want to see the armor I equip. I want to see the cosmetics I potentially purchase, and that's kind of hard to do when the game is first person. I know the very, very competitive players are kind of opposed to third person because, there are some advantages you get playing a third person game. Like, you get way more situational awareness, you can peek around corners without being seen, but considering that everyone is playing in third person, I don't really see it as a disadvantage to anyone in particular. It's just something everyone can do and something everyone should be mindful of. But yeah, the game is fun. The game is really fun. I think the gunplay is really good. The animations are really convincing. The sound effects are great. It's really immersive, and I think even fighting the NPCs, the non-player characters, the bots, the big robots, the drones, is really exciting and often very challenging. And then just having the element of other players potentially helping you out, or maybe killing you and taking everything you have on you, I think that element of it is what makes it so exciting, makes it very tense. Even in rounds when you don't encounter another player, just the thought that maybe that could happen kind of makes it all the more enjoyable. Yeah, like I said, I'm not really a big shooter guy. I don't really do extraction shooters. I played Dark and Darker for a bit, I don't know, 20 hours or so. Enjoyed that game for various reasons, but Ark Raiders has hooked me. And I never thought I would say these words, but a big part of it is definitely the community. Don't you hate when people say that? The community is so great. The community is so welcoming and so helpful. But yeah, I don't think this game could be what it is if the players were not playing the way that they tend to play. If every player dropped in intending to kill anyone and everyone on sight, then it would have been a very different game from day one. It probably still would have been an enjoyable game, but the element of, not knowing, the kind of social experiment aspect to it, I think is really appealing. If you had told me, say, even just 6 months ago, a year ago, that proximity chat in a video game would actually enhance the experience rather than the opposite, I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have bought into it, and I would not be willing to participate. But again, I think it's due to the community in this game, and I suspect the demographics in this game tend to be a bit older, maybe? That's my only theory, because while this is still a video game, and you still get a lot of that video game talk, I'm doing air quotes, for the most part, I want to say like 95% of my interactions have been pleasant. Yeah, I've been cursed out and shouted at, but that's just part of the game, right? It really isn't the typical, maybe it's just been so long that I've really been willing to open my mic up and listen to strangers on online games, so maybe I'm out of touch, maybe that's what it is, but it feels like the people playing this game are a bit more respectful. It's less toxic than you would expect. However, for the handful of people, and it really is a handful, it's the minority, for the minority of people who are actually toxic, or if we're being honest, racist, yeah, it's your fault. You're the reason more developers don't include these kinds of social features in their games. They're afraid people like you are going to ruin the experience for everyone else. So, proving them right, I guess, congratulations. And I will report you 100% of the time. Not sorry.
I respect every gentleman over here. I really do. You guys.
Oh, there's another guy. That's the black guy.
Yeah. So, sir, say yes for white bread and no for wheat bread. He wanted wheat bread. We are white bread. We are white bread.
I only love white bread.
I never liked that guy.
Alright, we're going to edge school, guys.
Again, I thought it was worth mentioning, but the majority of people, the vast majority of people I've encountered have been nothing but pleasant, and keep doing what you're doing, keep playing the game however you want to play the game, just don't bring any of that shit into it. Long story short, I'm loving the game. I've got 70 hours in, and I don't intend to stop playing anytime soon. Loving the game. I don't really give scores, but, you know, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever, I would say. However, I do want to address the elephant in the room. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. I'm not sure what the title will be yet, but we gotta include the clickbait, my guy. And yes, it's the use of generative AI in the game's development. And future development, apparently. So, a couple of weeks ago, Eurogamer put out a review for Arc Raiders, and I read the whole review. First of all, let's put that out there. I read the whole review. I read it in its entirety. I feel like a lot of people did not read the review. They just looked at the score, which was 2. 2 out of 5 stars. So that's like a 40% score. But if you actually read the review, they're saying basically the same stuff everyone's been saying about this game, myself included. The graphics are amazing. The gunplay feels good. The social aspect is surprisingly not as toxic as you would expect. The gameplay loop, while a bit repetitive, is still, you know, it is what it is. It's fun. The AI enemies are compelling and interesting and challenging. And the sound design. I didn't mention it before, but the sound design in this game is arguably one of the best features. And that includes the proximity chat. Like when someone's speaking in proximity chat, it's kind of adapted to the environment they're in, so you might echo in a certain location, or if you're outdoors, it's going to sound different. And I think that's really great sound design. And you can tell which arcs are approaching just based on the sound they're making. You can tell which direction someone's coming from. You know, you can hear their footsteps, you can hear doors open, you can hear someone laying a trap. The sound design in this game is amazing. But where the controversy is coming from, and this 2-star review, is the voice acting. So apparently Embark Studios did hire voice actors to record lines, but in addition to that, they're using generative AI and, you know, the voice actor's voice likeness, or however you want to put it, to generate additional lines. And I guess their rationale or their logic is that, yeah, we can push out more updates, we can push out more items, more development quicker, because we don't have to bring voice actors in to, you know, say new items, new locations, etc., etc. Which, sure, that kind of makes sense. But I will admit that that's the one part of this game that is not very impressive. It's inoffensive. The voice acting is just okay. Nothing crazy, nothing amazing. I think where the real issue is, and this is what Eurogamer was getting at as well, is the precedent it sets is not great. And I would argue the fact that this game is so good and so impressive and so successful kind of makes it worse. I think there's certain CEOs, certain people are going to look at this and say, oh, that's a green light to just AI everything all the time, right? Embark Studios did it, and their game is fucking killing it. And it's been mentioned plenty of times before, but there is definitely some irony in a game that is about the machines, the robots taking over, using generative AI. And I don't wanna assume Embark Studios' intent here. I'd like to imagine they're just naive, you know, like, oh, we just get some work done faster. Win-win-win. We're paying the actors, no big deal. I want to assume that's the scenario, and not, you know, what everyone's thinking is eventually we replace the actors. We don't need the actors. We have these. They want this game to last for 10 years. Are you ever going to bring those actors back? We don't know what those contracts look like. Maybe the contract is very generous. Maybe there is a future in this, but for some reason I doubt that. So the Game Awards happened recently, and I honestly don't care that much about the Game Awards, but Arc Raiders was in there a little bit, but not for sound design, not for the audio design. And I'm positive that if not for the little bit of AI usage, just the little bit of AI they sprinkled on top, this game would have won easily for audio design. The audio in this game is amazing. Like, this is one of the few games where I can't have like a YouTube video playing on the side. I think one of the other ones would be like Bloodborne. I gotta lock in. But yeah, if I'm playing Monster Hunter, if I'm playing Street Fighter, even if I'm playing like a Baldur's Gate 3, you know, between cutscenes, I'm just playing a video on YouTube, you know. But on Arc Raiders, no, I gotta turn my monitor off, my second monitor, lock in, get my headphones on, because you gotta listen, you know. And there's a lot to hear, there's a lot to listen to. So I feel like this little drop of generative AI into the mix kind of ruined the whole thing. I mean, the game is still doing well. It's still making a lot of money. I think they would have won that award, which may or may not mean much. Who knows? I don't know. I'm sure the Game Awards mean something if you win, but it's just disappointing. There was a lot of backlash against this review, and I'm gonna assume the majority of those people just didn't read the review, which I want to say fair enough, but you should probably read the review. I feel like that's partially on the publisher. When you put a score on your review, when you put a 2 out of 5 up front on top of the review, so that's the first thing you see, you know, people just look at the score. You need people to read it, you know, get a nuanced impression of like what your opinion is. But if you're putting a score up top, a lot of people aren't going to read the review. So I'd say get rid of the stars. I appreciate the integrity to give it a 2 for that reason. And yeah, I don't disagree. I agree fully with all their reasoning, but I do think having the score up top maybe hid the message a bit. So this game and even this video had me a bit torn, because before I even purchased the game, I already knew. I knew about the AI stuff, and I knew my stance on it, which is I don't want that in games. I don't want that in movies. I don't want any of that AI shit anywhere near creative, you know, art, video games, movies, comic books. I don't want it. But man, the game is good though. The game is good, and it's made by people who you can tell really care about what they're doing, poured a lot of time and effort in. It's just the one aspect they kind of, I think they just didn't really consider the optics of it. Typically I hate when people make these kind of slippery slope arguments about anything. But I feel like today we'll bring in some voice actors, run through some lines, generate some new ones for the foreseeable future. They have a 10-year plan for this game, so I mean, are these actors getting paid for the next 10 years? I can't confirm or deny that, but for some reason I'm leaning towards probably not. But I don't know that. That's purely speculation on my part. But yeah, today it's give us a couple of lines. We'll use your voice, your likeness for the next decade while our game is still supported. And you may or may not get paid. Who knows? Tomorrow it's, hey, let us license your artwork. Yeah, we'll pay you whatever we're gonna pay you, and we'll just use it for the next 10 projects we do over the next decade. No big deal. Do you really want to live in that world? When these big companies talk about freeing up resources or reducing the amount of monotonous work, they're talking about you. Freeing up resources, that means firing you. Monotonous work, that's you, that's your job. That's the boring shit you're doing. They're getting rid of you. The reality is, using AI sometimes does make work easier for some. But you have to think about who's losing work. Do we really want to push forward in this direction where we let these massive corporations push AI everything into every nook, every cranny of every industry, every job? You got Sam Altman, Bill Gates, you got Elon Musk. They're all talking about how much AI is gonna take over, how many jobs AI is gonna take, and they try to spin this like it's a positive thing. Well, these guys are billionaires, trillionaires almost. Well, you won't have to work. You'll be free to do whatever you want. Well, how the fuck am I gonna eat? How am I gonna pay my rent if I'm not making money working? And for me, that's why Arc Raiders is a little bit concerning. And yes, I realize maybe I'm getting a little bit carried away. They did do the AI thing, they did do it. But, you know, the vast majority of everything in this game was made with care by human beings. And I think the fact that they did use AI for the voice acting, and it's kind of the one thing that sucks, should illustrate something to them. I'm not sure what it will, but I think the fact that Arc Raiders is so good is why it's so concerning to me. A lot of people are going to see this, and when I say people, I mean, you know, not really people, but these CEOs and executives. When they see these numbers, they say, well, they used AI and they're getting these numbers. They're going to connect those dots, you know, free up those resources, if you will, get rid of some of that grunt work, you know, make it easier. So basically, this was my solution. I bought the game knowing what it had, knowing what they did, and I'm really enjoying the game. So just in order to not feel too guilty about it, I thought I should at least make a video describing what my issue is with this game. And yeah, there are other issues with this game, but that's neither here nor there. Small things that could be changed. It's a great game with a strange decision, to be quite frank, almost tainting the whole thing. Obviously, there are a lot of people who just don't care. I would argue that it's mostly people don't know that they've done this, and that's no one's fault. I mean, you don't have to keep up on like a game's development. Like, you just buy the game, looks good, buy the game. Watch the commercial, looks good, buy the game. So that's the purpose in this video. Great game, very good game. I'm not gonna do the star things, but I do believe Eurogamer's review is, you know, fair. I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised they didn't go to a 1, but they're being generous. You know, they like the game. They just had this one big issue with it, and I share that opinion with them. But that's gonna be all for this video. Not my usual thing, a lot less editing than I would like to do, but I just thought I should get this video out, say the things so I can enjoy the game without feeling guilty about it. Please like, please subscribe. If you disagree, okay, tell me why in the comments. If you do agree, also tell me why in the comments. And yeah, I'm gonna go back to the thing I mentioned before. What's your favorite thing? What is your favorite insult to use in video games that isn't a slur? Because I think the problem with these people is they're just not creative. You could come up with so many creative names, you know? So drop that, call me a whatever. Just, you know, if you drop a slur in the comments, I'm gonna have to block you. But yeah, keep it clean, within reason. But enjoy your day, enjoy your evening. Take care. Oh, come on. Just got in here, buddy. Alright, go ahead.